The Chicago Bears have officially been eliminated from playoff contention in 2021. What is going on, y'all? Fox Sports all back at it with another video talking, of course, some NFL here to talk about the Bears and them officially being eliminated from the playoffs. And this shouldn't surprise anybody. Not a single soul should be surprised, okay? Season's been long over, all right? Before we got to this point where the Bears are now at a pathetic 4-10. So, if we're not surprised by the Bears obviously being eliminated from playoff contention, what is there to talk about right now, Fives, with the Bears officially being eliminated? Well, I want to kind of put a spin on things, all right? There's been a lot of negativity, myself included, and a lot of Bears fans. Again, it's just depressing. It's sad right now, the state of affairs with this team, with the organization. And I want to put a spin on things to kind of brighten things up and make it more positive. Let's flip it and look at it from a glass half full instead of glass half empty standpoint, right? Being eliminated from the playoffs, right, usually means a bad thing. That means your team isn't good enough to compete and get a playoff spot. And that's where the Bears are. But let's, again, put a spin on things and look at it in a positive way. I've said this numerous times. We all know what the problem is, right? We need to get rid of the coach, potentially the GM, get a new front office, bit of a roster overhaul. But how bad is this team really, right? If you make a few tweaks, could the Bears get back into playoff contention and maybe even more sooner rather than later? We just saw what happened with the Chicago Bulls, right? I was there the last 2 years, not physically, you know what I mean? I was there watching how quickly this Bulls roster transformed, right? You had Gar and Pats get fired. We knew it was time for them to go. And it was just a matter of, okay, let's get it over with. Like, we knew they need to go. You need to get rid of the coach, Jim Boylan. And then you need to do a roster overhaul. And you see what you have right now, which is a team that, forget playoffs, like they're a lock to make the playoffs, but we're talking about a potential title contender in the Chicago Bulls. Yes, I said it. They are a title contending team potentially. And that's just a matter of 2 years, right? The new GM and VP of Basketball Operations, AK and ME, Arturas Karnisovas and Mark Eversley, got to Chicago 2 years ago and fixed up this Bulls roster and Bulls team and made it to what it is right now. So I say that to say, why can't the same thing happen with the Bears, and especially in football, where you literally see every single season a team go from last place in the division to first place in the division? Right? We see that, and it's not like we've been living in purgatory, folks, for years now. You won the division in 2018. All right, it hasn't been that long since the Bears have been relevant in terms of winning the division. So why can't it happen to the Bears? I say it can't. So it's the same formula, right? Once the season ends, because we know that no one's getting fired or canned until the season's over. That's just how the McCaskies do things, for crying out loud. Once the season ends, let's get it rolling. Fire Matt Nagy first and foremost. Get your hands clean from the dirt of Matt Nagy and the stench of Matt Nagy. Get him out of here. I'm sorry, Matt Nagy's a nice guy. I'm sure he is, but he's had way too much of an opportunity here to turn things around, and he just hasn't. Get rid of Matt Nagy. And now, talking about the GM, Ryan Pace, as much as I love Ryan Pace in terms of what he's done with drafting, again, he did draft Justin Fields. Let's not forget that. And as much as we love Justin Fields, it was Pace who did it. Even though Pace did that, he's drafted good defensive players. I want Ryan Pace gone, maybe not fired, just moved to a lower position or a different position in the organization, kind of like what happened with John Paxson. I want that to happen to Ryan Pace because I just want a new, fresh feeling in the building with the new regime. That's it. I've said this before. You can't fire Nagy, keep Pace. I feel like they're a package that comes together. So if you're getting rid of one, and you definitely are, you can't keep the other. So I want to get rid of Ryan Pace, and that's why I'm saying that. Maybe you don't have to fire him because maybe he's done some good. He has done some good things. He has. Maybe you don't fire him, but move into a different position in the organization, right? Maybe he can still have some input somewhere else. Anyway, new coach, new GM, new front office. Those people, the new GM, the new coach, they put the staff in, get the right guys in the building, right? That's what AK NME did. Same thing with here. As far as who that new coach, new GM is, I don't know yet. I'll put a video out of who I want. You do that. Step number 1, step number 2 done. Step number 3, roster reconstruction. So how bad is this Bears roster? You compare to some of the worst rosters in the NFL, like the Houston Texans, the Jacksonville Jaguars, teams like that. Are the Bears really that bad? Well, let's take a look at it. You have a potential franchise quarterback in Justin Fields who has shown flashes, and a lot of coaches around the league would want him to be their quarterback of the future. And a lot of people would like to build around Justin Fields. You have that, which is the most important thing you need in football, is a quarterback. Then you've got Darnell Mooney, a young and up-and-coming receiver who's shown signs. Maybe he's not a number 1, but certainly can be a number 2, number 3. You've got David Montgomery, who's been, if not a spectacular, a very solid running back who runs very hard. Khalil Herbert behind him has shown some juice. No pun intended, that's his nickname. He's been fairly solid. So you like that. Jalen Johnson, one of the best young cornerbacks in the NFL, just built on what he's shown us past the last season. Cole Kmet, again, has shown flashes. He hasn't been consistent, but he's shown flashes. And Roquan Smith, one of the most consistent defense players that we have. He still got snubbed again for a Pro Bowl. I don't know how. And Thomas Graham, I know he just started last game, but folks, he showed some flashes in that game. I don't know why he didn't start. That's another video for another day. But point is, there's young talent on this roster. There's actually more talent on this Bears roster right now than there was on that Bulls team. On that Bulls team, the only player that we kept from the previous regime is Zach LaVine. Everybody else, go look at it, is out of here. So the Bears actually have more talent on this roster than the Bulls did. So you've got this nucleus to build around. I only named the young, promising players. I'm not talking about the Robert Quinns of the world who are very productive, but again, he's not a young player. I'm talking about the guys you can keep here for the future. So new GM, new coach, roster overhaul. You do those 3 things. You get in free agents. You draft new players. You're back. You're back, baby. So to me, again, as negative as it is with what's going on with this team and not making the playoffs, the fact is the best thing that happened with this season is we didn't go 8-8. Because if the Bears went 8-8 again, there was a chance Matt Nagy would have stayed, chance Ryan Pace would have stayed, and a chance nothing would have changed. Us going to 4-10 and potentially worse in terms of the record guarantees Nagy's gone, Ryan Pace potentially is gone, and we're going to get some damn changes in Chicago. So keep that in mind, right? We didn't go 8-8, sneak into the playoffs, only for Nagy's job to get saved. You got to tank. Well, you don't have to tank, but the Bears being that awful is what caused and will cause these changes. So, again, glass half full, trying to help you guys with that insight. But folks, we're closer than we think. A lot of people, including myself, didn't think the Bulls would get turned around in 2 years. Same thing could happen with the Bears. And I'm telling you, these are the dark times that we as fans have to go through. And we'll see the page turn and the Bears will be good again. And hopefully they will be good again. And it'll be sooner than later, hopefully. But yeah, that's what I got for you folks. I know they're eliminated. I can't even talk. I know they're eliminated from playoff contention. But this is the start of something new. And the start of the Bears rebuilding or retooling the right way. So let me know what you guys think. Leave a comment down below of the positives that you guys see. I've listed out some. Let me hear from you. As always, thanks for watching.